playing in an incredible team. I think pound for pound, the best reader of a front and centre I've ever seen.
I just tried to master the front and centre.
You did.
I did my best. Hawthorn couldn't get mine, like mum and dad's number. So my cousin called and was like, I just had a phone call from Hawthorn.
What the fuck?
Yeah, do you want to go and train? So we eventually worked all that out, which was pretty funny.
You were the last pick of the rookie.
Pretty much, yeah. So
congrats.
Yeah, thanks. And then 46, 47, 48 were down near like the property stewards.
Are you? So you weren't in the locker room?
Wasn't in the locker room.
Breusty, how are you, mate?
I'm going well, mate. Thanks for having me.
Hey, what'd you think of my birdie that I just showed you before?
Compared to the first time I played with you down at Moona, to see you hit a flushed hybrid like that, it was pretty special. So no, well done. It was
Thank you.
Great hole.
Thank you, mate. We were obviously talking about golf there. That's probably where our relationship started, playing with Mitchie Lewis and Sis down at Moona those times, and still loving you. Obviously not playing too much at the moment with the knee, but plenty more golf to happen, I suppose.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm looking forward to a bit more in retirement. Absolutely. I reckon that was probably the first time I might have met you maybe can you remember the bushfire relief game?
Oh,
I reckon you...
That's amazing that you would remember that, yeah.
I reckon you were...
I was doing the media stuff
there.
Yeah,
like the bit of... Nearly like a roaming Brian.
Yeah.
Roaming Dyl.
Yeah.
Around the change. I reckon that was the first time I ever met you, and then...
There was another time, by the way. Yeah, there was a game at Marvel Stadium where Hawks won by, I think it was 145 points.
Really?
I was playing on you, Cyril Rioli, and Paul Piopolo. Because at that stage...
So I was the easiest matchup out
No, you were the hardest. But at that stage, Cade Simpson, who's a friend of yours and a coach at Hawthorn, and Sam Doherty, formerly just retired from Carlton.
Yeah.
They were still adamant on playing like +2 in defence and zoning off on three of the best small forwards of all time. And I was the one who had to pick up sort of
in between.
Yeah, in between.
Oh, wow.
So that was the other time we met, but you didn't really see too much of me. I wasn't very close.
No, you're probably on my back shoulder.
Pretty much. Mate, hey, congratulations on an incredible career. Have not only, loved meeting you and seeing what you're about, but have been a massive admirer of what you've done over your time, and I know you're a very humble guy. But congrats on what's been incredible. Like, how's it all sunk in over the last month or so?
Yeah, it's probably the first time I feel like in the last couple of weeks that I have really sat down and actually started to reminisce and think of my career as a whole. I feel like you're so in the moment most of the time where you just on to the next season. You're sort of like, you might be happy with the season you've just had, but then it's just like, okay, wipe that. What's next? Like, I've got 2 weeks off, and then it's like, all right, pre-season training programs. Like, what am I doing? So to sit down in the last few weeks, and maybe the knee was a good thing. It's slowed me up a little bit. I've had a lot of time on the couch, a lot of time to think. Obviously had the best and fairest on the weekend, so I started to write some notes and a speech for that. So I guess the overwhelming feeling is probably just incredibly proud. A lot of hard work went into it, but excited for the next chapter and sort of heading into coaching and as I said, really excited by that and looking forward to sinking my teeth into it.
Mate, I'm excited for whatever it is because there's just so much going through the bit of a chat. Mon and I have pre-pod about everything we want to touch on, and it almost feels impossible today. There's, New South Wales rookie, which I thought was a scholarship, but we'll talk through that whole process later.
Yeah.
Coming onto the Hawthorn list, playing in an incredible team. I think pound for pound, the best reader of a front and centre I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, I said it on Saturday night at the best of fairest. So I just tried to master the front and centre.
You did.
I did my best. I was good at it obviously as a junior, and then it was like, all right, I get to crumb to some of the best key forwards that have played the game in terms of Franklin, Roughead, David Hale, Jack Gunston, these sort of guys. So it's like, well, if I can just put myself in the best spots, if they don't mark it, then I'm going to get a pretty good look at it because there wasn't too many times that they got outmarked. So I just went to school on that, and fortunately for me, sort of hard work paid off and was able to get some looks.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into it today. I want to start sort of at the beginning. It's always find it's a good place to start, but we'll probably jump absolutely left, right and everywhere.
No worries.
Today. So, New South Wales.
Yep.
what was your sort of upbringing into footy? Because this was prior to the Giants, prior to expansion clubs. It was just before sort of that period of coming into footy.
Yeah, so as a real junior, it was just rugby league. So you can obviously start rugby league a little bit earlier than what you can with Auskick and these sort of things. So I think they had under sixes maybe in Temora. So you get introduced to rugby league a lot quicker than what you do some other sports. And I feel like it's very much a game where to teach a under six rugby and just pass, run versus trying to teach AFL, it's just so much harder. So I didn't get introduced to AFL until under 12s pretty much. I think I played maybe under 9s or it was Auskick back then. And then if you were a 9-year-old, you just played under 12s. That was sort of where it all started. So from there, it was then very much I just tried to play every sport under the sun. It was just a typical country upbringing in terms of there was just not enough numbers really. So it was just like, hey, you played basketball, volleyball, did little athletics, rugby league, AFL, and grew up on a farm. I had an older brother and an older sister. So it was just like I was just getting bashed pillar to post because I was 4 years younger than my sister, 2 years younger than my brother. So they were just faster, bigger, stronger, which was good in the end because it helped me develop and grow and you get a few setbacks along the way, but ultimately it gives you a set of skills that you can do what I eventually did.
What was Temora like? So whereabouts in New South Wales and farming? What sort of farming?
Yeah, so wheat sheep area.
Yeah.
Town obviously very dominated by farming communities. Great, it was a great little town.
Coastal?
No. We're sort of 4 hours inland from Sydney and 6 hours sort of north of Melbourne. So you sort of,
you're in the middle of literally nowhere.
Nowhere.
Yeah.
I'll take you there one, mate. One day. We'll have a hit at Temora Golf Course. So there's not a heap there in terms of population or anything, but a great little town, great community. The Aviation Museum is the big draw card. So once a month they do a flying weekend. So you have to check out the Spitfires and all that up there. Yeah.
Make sure we get there up then.
And then, as I said, just dominated by sport, really. So we've had a heap of guys go and play in the NRL up in Sydney and around Australia, and then myself and my cousin Jake Barrett. Did you cross paths with Jake at
I
Giants?
didn't, but
No.
I didn't know that was your cousin.
Yeah, so Jake played at Giants and then Brisbane.
Yes.
So we're sort of the only two that have gone the AFL path, and then that's about sums up sort of Temora. But overall, so grateful for my upbringing, and I've still got a lot of mates that are back there now. I love getting home when I can and catching up with them.
How did it all sort of like transpire, I suppose, into getting into footy? Like at what age, and then I suppose transitioning? Did you play like Rams or something? Like, I'm trying to remember what the comp was like back then.
Yeah, I'd have to rack my brain in terms of what it was like. I remember talent pathways being like Stingrays and Rebels, and then Rams, and then sort of national carnivals and things like that. I played under 12s New South Wales, so guys like Taylor Dray, Taylor Walker were all in my under 12 side, which is pretty amazing. Like now that I've signed with Taylor at Richmond, it's just like, are you kidding me? Like from 2002, and now we're still having crossover with our footy journey.
Far out.
23 years later. So it would have been all that sort of stuff, and then I really started to take AFL seriously when the Swans Reserves called in. It would have been 2006. So I would have been 16.
Were you zoned? Was that like a zonage to them at that stage?
So the only real connection that you had with the Swans was they had priority on New South Wales rookies.
Yep.
And I think they could take 2 a year as like a priority sort of system. And the year that I was coming through, they actually ended up taking Mike Pike, who was Canadian. And I think they took another Irish guy.
Tommy.
Was it? Yeah.
Someone.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Geez, that'd be a good get if you got that. But
We'll have a look.
they were the two guys that they took my year. So they're like, okay, we've taken these two international guys. We're going to miss out on some of the New South Wales guys. So as soon as I got that sort of phone call as to say, well, the Swans aren't interested, I had pretty well given up on getting drafted. I thought I'd broken my leg in the June of that year, and New South Wales kid was just like, I'd had a decent carnival up until June, and I was like, have you done enough to then get drafted? And it's just like, well, probably not. So I was I got early entry into Charles Sturt Uni in Wagga. I was going to do commerce up there and probably just played local footy. And luckily a couple of months later, Hawks called to to come down to train just before the rookie draft, and then the rest is history. So,
Wow.
yeah.
What was the initial memories of going out and training with Hawthorn? So you just went down there to as a supplementary to try and get on the list. It wasn't like...
So I got a phone call from my cousin actually that Hawthorn couldn't get mine, like mum and dad's number. So my cousin called and was like, I just had a phone call from Hawthorn.
What the fuck?
Yeah, do you want to go and train? So we eventually worked all that out, which was pretty funny. Trained for a week, and then Jeff Gartlett was training as well. And
Jeffy
Gartlett, yeah.
Carlton Jeffy?
Carlton
was at
Jeffy
Hawthorn?
Was at Hawthorn, so he trained for a week. There was about 12 of us, I reckon, that trained, and went through it the whole week. I thought I trained pretty well for the week, but Jeff was obviously silky skills, very clever player, which he ended up going on to be as well. But Hawthorn pretty much said to me, okay, well, if Jeff's still there at pick, I think Hawthorn might have had like pick 6 or 8. If Jeff's still there at pick 6 or 8, then it's not looking good for you, pretty much. So I sort of left Melbourne thinking I'm sort of no chance of getting drafted to Hawthorn. Carlton take him at pick 1 in the rookie draft, and then so 40-something picks later, I go at 47 because I hadn't been able to get a small forward. So
who else went in the rookie draft that year?
That year, Riley Milne was from Shepparton, Hayden Keel. I think there was one other before me, and then they took me at pick 47. So. Yeah,
so
but I just remember
you were the last pick of the rookie,
probably, yeah. If you go back, I don't know how many. It's all different back then. I feel like there's a heap more picks back then.
There was, yeah, but basically you were Hawthorn's last pick that year.
Pretty much, yeah. So
congrats.
Yeah, thanks. And then so I just remember training for a week, sent home, name was read out on a Tuesday, and the only job I ever had before footy was delivering pamphlets. And that was I used to do that on a Tuesday.
Like walk the trolley with it. Yeah, I did this as well.
Did you? Yeah, I used to get $20 a week delivering pamphlets on a Tuesday afternoon. So I'd switch that to the Tuesday morning because I knew I had the rookie draft on. Delivered my pamphlets, went and sat at my cousin's house on the little laptop watching the draft, and my name was read out. Quickly had to then get back out to the farm, pack a bag, and then I was on the flight from Wagga at like 3:30 in the afternoon. And it was just this whole whirlwind.
Far out.
Yeah, it was
in
crazy.
the sliding doors, crazy. Like the stuff around as well that I don't know, just as a footy enthusiast of like history and stuff, is you and Jeffy training on as that rookie spot, and then sliding doors. Carlton take him, you stay there, you win 3 flags, but Jeffy goes on to be an incredible player, like one of the
100%,
one of the game's great, small forwards, but. It's fascinating, isn't it? When this is why I love draft and development. I suppose you're going into it now too. Like, it doesn't matter what pick you are, right? You could be the number 1 pick, last pick in the rookie draft.
Yeah.
Fast forward 5-10 years,
100%.
Who knows what happens?
Especially once you get into a system and you get into a culture like Hawthorn had at the time, where they were coming off the 2008 flag, so it was a pretty daunting environment to walk into. But you quickly learn they set a pretty high standard. They work hard. And I was probably scared, if anything, of that forward line. Like I was walking in and obviously Buddy's coming off 100 goals, Ruff's there, Mark Williams, Michael Osborne, these sort of guys. And I just tried to take it all in. And fortunately, a few years later, you then get someone like a Jack Gunston and that walk through the doors and you hit it off with him and your sort of connection starts to build. And then, you start to really feel sort of belong on field because you've been able to build a really strong relationship with them off field, and then that translates.
So I want to ask a question, and this I don't mean this to be disrespectful, and I know you won't take it that way at all, but isn't it crazy with the culture of different clubs? Like, do you think when you got there, New South Wales rookie, walking into a team that's just won the flag, and the thought of you being able to even break into that team is quite far-fetched. Like, I think if I was at, Carlton at the time or another team, you just think like, oh, yeah, hey, mate, how are you? Like, this guy's here to sort of like make up the numbers.
Yeah.
Do you think that was the thought, or do you think that there was actually a part where, Mickey O and all, Michael Osborne and those guys were like, oh, okay, no, we can see something here. Let's actually help him develop.
Yeah, well, I think, and you probably know, you've heard this story, and I probably need to ask Sam Mitchell himself in terms of why he grabbed me, but he grabbed me pretty much from the first training session I ever did with him.
Really?
And we would just goal kick after every session. I think he was just getting free coffees at the time because I'd always lose to him. But yeah, I don't know really to this day why he grabbed me, but we would goal kick for my first pretty much 2.5 years. after every single session, we'd have minimum 6 to 8 shots, and we'd play horse or like like the basketball game you'd play. So it was just like you got a letter if they kicked it and you missed. And so we just did that after every single session. And again, did he see something? Was it he was just being a great leader? Was it, I don't know why he picked me, but straight away I had this sense of belonging because you got the premiership captain from the year before grabbing you to take you and do a little bit extra with you. And it might have been 5 minutes, but that 5 minutes to me as a first year rookie gave
everything.
It's everything, exactly right. So, and then it's still from then, it took me 2.5 years to debut. But if I don't get that kind of reception when I first get there, then who knows what my career looks like.
Wow, to be honest, that's a pretty amazing. I think people listening maybe that not in the footy world go, well, yeah, that's their job, that's what they do. But
yeah.
I think that shows a high performance environment versus clubs that aren't, because when I suppose senior players don't feel safe, the last thing they want to do is train someone up to then ultimately make them better to challenge their position as well. And I suppose that's the difference between good teams and good leaders. And it looks like that's obviously what happened there. Like traditionally, Sam Mitchell would go, I'll go get the first pick and train him up maybe.
Correct,
or go like that.
100%. And you talk like that point you just mentioned about bringing someone on who potentially take your spot. Like Michael Osborne, he obviously knew that I was a small forward and potential that if I got good enough that his spot was then going to be mine. So, but he did everything for me early days. So then I remember it was like an old half forward pattern. It was just like we just trained that like to death. It was just like, okay, you need to get really good at this. And then it was like, you go to crumbing. Okay, you need to get really, really good at this. Oh, you can't kick on your left foot. What do you mean you can't kick on your left foot? Like I had a really good sidestep, but my sidestep was off my right foot going towards my left. And it's like, well, that's useless if you can't kick. If you can't kick on your left. So it was all these things. And I guess it sort of goes full circle, because then in the last few years for me, it's just like, okay, well, I probably wasn't playing the footy that I wanted to or getting the role that I wanted to have, but I'm then still trying to teach Ginnivan and Watson and Dylan Moore and these sort of guys that, I'm just passing on what I'd been taught from these older guys, that it's just like, okay, well, it doesn't really matter. You got to put your ego aside and go, I know they're trying to take my spot, but it's what good coaches do, and it just breeds success.
Can I tell you something real weird?
Yeah.
I don't even know if this actually relates to what we're talking about right now. It actually does in a roundabout way, but we're talking before. I was lucky enough to go play Cathedral the other day where Jack Gunston is a member, and you go up there all the time, you guys, and you have fun, and you never invite me. But that's
I'll get Jack onto it.
It's another story for another time.
Yeah.
And I was driving back, and the most beautiful thing about driving out that way is the trees.
Yeah, Black Spur.
And the Black Spur, but there's just beautiful trees the whole way. And you know how I don't, being from a rural town like you are, you know how like when you see I'm a big tree guy. I love trees, and I always think like, imagine the person that planted these trees. They would have never have known. They weren't planting them for themselves in the moment. They were planting them for something later on.
Yeah.
And there's a really cool quote about it. I don't know what it is, Mon, if you can potentially look that quote up. But I actually think about that with like life in general as well. It's like bringing up kids or mentoring people. You're planting a seed in the sense that you're not actually going to reap the rewards of that, but someone else will.
100%.
And it's a really cool. It's really cool, and it's hard to do because it's not. It's hard to do at the beginning because you think you're not getting anything out of it.
Correct. Yeah, and I think that's why like storytelling is so powerful, because we have all this build up knowledge. You don't have it initially, so you're then relying on these older guys to then give you that knowledge, and so then I think in really good cultures and really good environments, it's then ingrained in the person to then continue to try and pass that on. And luckily that's what has happened at Hawthorn and what sort of good environments do really well.
I don't know if this is the quote, but the true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit.
That's not the one.
Okay.
No, that's definitely not it. That's definitely not
I actually think that one fits better, to be honest.
No, I don't like that one. That's a shit quote. I hate it. Starting to feel your own, I suppose, at Hawthorn, coming in at that time as well. Now, first year, were you 41?
47.
47. Great number.
Heavy number.
Great number.
What were you? What did you start in?
No, unfortunately, fortunately, no, I started 7 at Carlton, delisted.
Oh, and then
43.
40.
4 plus 3.
I remember.
4 plus 3 is 7. Yeah, you remember watching some Needful highlights and stuff, do you?
I remember you being in 40s as well. But
Yeah.
So when you first were drafted, it was 7.
I was 7.
Straight away.
So I was and I'm not saying this in a point to embarrass you at all, but like this is a really interesting conversation because, and I've learned this the hard way.
Yeah.
I had such a different, and the reality it was me. That was doing this, but also a product of your environment as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Came into a very different team with different culture, and I suppose this is so important for people to listen to, but also your role going into now as a development coach.
Yeah.
Is like I was sort of touted as like a high pick.
Yeah.
Thought it was just going to happen. Didn't actually understand the work ethic and like just.
Yeah.
Yes, I had to get better at that, but I just made so many mistakes and didn't learn that till later on. And
Yeah.
luckily I was able to use that later in life and go to the next thing. But
who'd you get drafted with? Was there someone? See, that's what I get. You start talking about that and like sliding doors and who you get. Like, I look back on my career and go, okay, I got drafted with Liam Shields and Ryan Schollmakers, who were high picks as well. But they both had a work ethic that was just like, okay, I'm just going to give everything here.
Yeah.
And you watch the way both of them played. They just competed and got the best out of themselves. So I then probably got dragged along by that as well. And I'm not saying that I didn't have as good a work ethic or anything, but it was just like, okay, I could see these two.
There's a competitiveness.
Competitive amongst my draft class. So again, it's just like, if I don't get drafted with someone like that or who has the personality of that, then do I then do the same thing or do I just go along your lines and go, okay, I'm just going to coast here. I've got a little bit of talent. I'm on the list now.
Yeah.
I've got
drink cards.
Yeah, I've got plenty of time. Yeah, I'm going to CQ and getting drink cards and all that. So, yeah, it is fascinating 100% when you look back and reflect.
Well, it was even reflecting on it now, it's crazy because I look back and at that time, Carlton was sort of, in their eyes, they were like in a somewhat of a window, which definitely wasn't on reflection. But the first pick of that year was Josh Bootsma.
Yeah.
Second pick was Sam Rowe, who was like 20. He was like a mature age pick, who was great. But
played the flag with Sam Rowe.
Did you at Norwood?
Swans, 2007.
Why would you have played at Norwood? But So what do you?
I'm pretty sure he was. Was he was Swans before Carlton? Is that right?
He was. I think he was actually, but he was like he went to Norwood as well. He got picked up from.
I think he did. I'm sure he played in the 2007. I'll find you a photo after this, and I'm pretty sure he's in it.
We'll look that up.
Yeah.
But he was a second pick, and then I was a third, and then there was just a couple of rookies after who Tom Bell, Fraser Dale, and another New South Wales scholarship player, Matt Lodge, that's a story for another time.
Okay.
But I just thought coming in, I was like, okay, well, cool. Bootsy debuts because he was the first pick.
Yeah.
Then Sam will debut.
Yeah.
Then I'll debut. Then the rookies debut. And it was like, started at the bottom. Like the first guy came in and was like,
wow.
And I was just like, this isn't part of the plan. That's not how it's meant to work.
So it's, I drew it up.
How do you look at that, I suppose, coming into the role you're in now and you see the young players coming through, like even to your experience on your later years at Hawthorn, like you see someone like Nick Watson come in and Ginnivan, and it's like they rock up being like, I don't give a fuck how, like I'm just going to play.
Yeah, that's on that. The attitude is very different, I feel like, these days. I feel like maybe the hierarchy's not there as much, and there's sort of the leadership's been able to sort of flatten the leadership a little bit, which I think long term will be of benefit. But yeah, these young guys, they don't give a shit about the older guys. Whereas I was so scared of the leadership group and those sort of guys back in the day.
Luke Hodge, Sam Mitchell, Jordan Lewis,
Jarryd Roughead,
Buddy Franklin.
Bud, yeah.
Like if I was you, I would have not said anything for 3 years.
Well, I pretty much didn't.
Yeah. And now they come in and they're fucking got more of a voice than anyone. But it's good.
It's great, and I guess again it goes back to your environment and being able to change that and try and open up, and especially at Hawthorn, we had to work on that for a long period of time. I don't know what your theatre room was like at Carlton, but when we tried to open it up, and then you'd be like, okay, boys, we need investment, we need to hear you speak and all that sort of stuff, and then they'd ask a question and just be crickets. And Matt Suckling used to be able to do the cricket noise so good, and he'd just sit up the back and just give the cricket noise. But it's just like, oh, come on, boys! Like if we're trying to get this environment open now and a flatter leader structure, it's like how can we?
So is this post?
This would have been post, yeah.
Post, except
this is more heading in towards the Mitchell era.
Yeah.
And again, these younger guys trying to allow them to be themselves. And as you said, like in the locker room and all that, they were pretty chirpy and all that. But then you'd sit in a theatre room and you'd be talking about game plan or
challenging each other.
Yeah, challenging each other or situations and stuff. It's like, okay, we need your input now.
What about, we were really lucky. We had Sam Mitchell on the pod. It was right at the start of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah, in March this year.
I had him in March, and he's a good guy, Sam. Very, very funny. Yeah. He's a funny guy.
He's funny.
I think he's trying to be funny, but he's just like quite
direct.
Yeah, like he's so direct that I was like scared.
Did you see his speech on Saturday night?
No, I didn't. Was he?
There's just a few things on there where it's very Sam.
Yeah,
like talking about the grand final, and
he's
like, I hated it.
Yeah. No, I'm a big Sam guy.
Yeah, no, he's got his own unique way of being funny, I reckon. And I'm not sure if he's trying to be funny, but it comes across as funny.
Well, that's the question. On that pod, I asked him about the era that obviously you'd come through and talking about how different the lists were. You look at the three-peat sort of period, and then you go into the new gen of Hawthorn. And it's almost like he was nearly from not putting words into anyone's mouth here, but more of a question, he was almost like the top guy of like that ruthlessness around like don't fucking do anything, like feedback 100%. Really harsh into then turning into this younger brigade. Like how have you seen, how would you describe that team versus the next team?
Yeah, well, and even that's why I've got so much respect for Mitch, because he's been able to transition and evolve from that kind of person who was this unbelievable warrior and demanded so much of his teammates as captain, then senior player, and just wanted success for everyone around him, which is what it sort of ultimately come down to. And then, to be able to evolve and now relate to these younger guys and change the way he went about things. And he still has that ruthless edge to him in terms of wanting success for everyone and doing everything he can to get that, but doing it in a little bit of a different way than, because if he just continued to go hard at some of these younger guys, he'll lose them. And he knows that. So then it's like, okay, how do I build relationships and go about it in a bit of a different way? In terms of the list, absolutely, it was. Well, you've got, I think it was like 16 where Jordan Lewis and Sam go. Then you've got Hodgie goes. Rough was still around in, I think, 18 where we went out in straight sets. So yeah, that transition was so interesting, especially when I've sort of stayed there the whole time now. So like 16 you lose a kick to Geelong. Isaac has that kick after the siren, which would put us into another prelim. Instead, you go out in straight sets. 18, you go out in straight sets, and then it's just like, okay, where are we actually at? Hub year, we start the year 3-1, and then don't win a game for about 7 weeks or something like that. And then it goes to then Mitchell's era where it's like, okay, we've got to now build this thing right back up again. And then luckily we're back at a prelim this year. So
it's crazy, the world, the AFL world. It's such a humbling thing, right? Because unless you, and probably more of a question more than a statement, but like, you're a 3-time premiership player. And because you had that lull period through Hawthorn, and now you've come back through it, but do you sometimes think it's so quickly how you forget, though, what you've actually achieved? Like, you see you guys running out and you're losing 7 or 8, you're like, guys, from an outside point of view, I'm like, you guys realise you're a lot better than this. Like,
100%. And the other thing, you look back when, especially during where you're playing grand finals, I just took it for granted so much. It was like, 100% I'll get another crack at a grand final. And yet I then go from 2015 to now 10 years on and I didn't get back there. It's just like, oh my God, where did that 10 years go? Like I played in 4 grand finals in a row, so I'll definitely get another crack at another one before my time's finished. And then you fast forward and it's just like, you didn't. And it's like, I was just so grateful that I'd got those early ones. And there's some guys that go through their whole career without even getting a look at one. So it's fascinating.
All right, line up in a preseason practice match.
Yeah.
Or actually, let's go grand final day. Modern Hawthorn versus like
that era
Hawthorn. Who wins?
Oh, the young boys of today will hate it, but we would belt them.
Yeah,
100%. There's not too many. I don't think there's too many teams that
There's no
you
way
can
they could
line
not
up.
compete against that.
Couldn't. No. I just think back, it's like, how do we all fit in?
You should no, literally, but you should say to those boys like, Weddle and Marbior, and that's like, mate, if you boys wouldn't be carrying Buddy Franklin and Jarryd Roughhead's bags.
It'd be like under, what is it? Under 12s versus Oz kick or something like that.
But isn't it interesting though? And I don't know if I'm the only one who has this opinion, but I look back and think maybe it's because we're older now.
Yeah.
And you look back, but they just seem like such bigger figures than it is now. Like even with the grand final this year, I look at Geelong and Brisbane. I'm like, there's no one that's like incredibly intimidating.
Like, no.
Like Dangerfield's, he's very thick and big, but
powerful. Yeah.
Harris Andrews.
Was there someone at Carlton? I remember tackling Brent Guerra for the first time.
Oh, he's thick.
And I was
he's
like,
a thick man.
My shoulder's broken.
Yeah, he's erect. Like. We call it erect.
Yeah,
him and Paul Chapman.
Yeah, Paul Chapman. I used to play on Josh Hunt for Geelong.
He was thick.
Another like really thick guy that just would hit hard.
You'd get obviously a lot of those small defenders.
Yeah.
Who was your hardest like opponent or someone you really found challenging to play against?
So Josh Hunt at times and Andrew Mackie. So they were probably the two for Geelong. And I actually got to have a beer.
Different matchup with Mackie, isn't it?
Yeah, very different. Yeah, and I actually got to have a beer with Mackie, Jonathan Simpkins 30th, and it was the first time we sort of met off field. So that's always an interesting dynamic. Yeah. And there's this running joke at Hawthorn. So we obviously lost to Geelong for 10 games in a row or whatever, and it was all about collapsing the field. And I was one of those guys that I'd try and put pressure on. I thought I was doing the right thing. I'd go and try and put pressure on, and then Mackie would just get the handball over the top, and then he'd be running down the wing, delivering it inside 50. And pretty much until I fixed that, or we fixed that, in the 2013 prelim, we finally we got them. So I was able to then have some discipline and actually hold out. And
what do you mean collapsing the field? So like pressing laterally or something?
Yeah, exactly, pretty much. So if it was a back feed, so they might back feed, then I would press the back feed.
Yeah.
Mackie would then get the handball release, and then he'd be then driving it forward for him. So until I learned that. So it's a bit of a running gag. There's two like iconic bits of vision at Hawthorn, those bits of vision of me, and then there's one of Taylor Dray that had like 3 out in plays, and he just kept booting it back to the same spot. So they're the two ones over that really successful era that always get talked about when we get back together. Anyway, I'm having a beer with Mackie, and he's like, well, that's fine. Like, you're getting in trouble in team meetings for that. But then I'm getting in trouble in his team meetings for me getting out the back and kicking goals. So it sort of made me feel a little bit better that I wasn't just the one on the receiving end of some negative feedback, that he was at least getting roasted down the highway for me kicking goals.
Teams, playing against each other. We had Corey Enright on the pod a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, he was a superstar.
A superstar.
Yeah.
Like, not only did you play in an amazing team, and I want to talk about more of your teammates later about like just, who were some of your favourite guys to play with, but you look at that Hawthorn Geelong period, I know sort of from 08 to 15, 16 period, I suppose, before some of the guys retired, the main era.
Yeah.
But even of late too, like it's just always been such a competitive battle against those two teams.
Oh, 100%. Those two, like our forward line and their back line, and I'm assuming here, but you'd think going into games against anyone else, they're like looking at the Hawthorn forward line of then, and they're just like, okay, there's some serious challenges here in terms of matchups and things like that. And we were sort of similar. We'd go into the games, it's like, if you get this guy, or if Gunners gets the third tall,
someone else gets out.
Yeah, someone gets out. You know what I mean. Whereas with Geelong, it's probably this mutual respect of, okay, we're pretty even across the park now, and this is going to be a really, really tough battle. So the 6 for Hawks, like this is how I see it. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like Buddy, Rough, Gunners, yourself, Cyril, Piopolo. Yeah, that's like the 6. Like, who else would you sort of throw in that? And then 7th? David Hale resting Ruck. Yeah. So that was probably the key 7, and then you'd have like something like Jordan Lewis would come down and do a roll and kick 5, and things like this, or Hodge would come and rest forward, or Cyril, or Shawnee would come forward. Yeah, and it's just like, geez, it's pretty amazing. But then you go, as I said, you go to that Geelong back line, and across the park it was pretty impressive as well.
So who would you get from those? Like, who was there? Three?
Yeah, it was sort of
Mackie, Hunt.
Early days. Mackie was obviously around for a little while. Then, Enright was always around there. Mitch Duncan floated halfback as well, wing.
What about like Scarlett?
I never.
Did you never get Scarlett?
No.
But like play against him?
Oh yeah, played against him.
Like just being in the same.
Being in the same area. Yeah. Lonigan. I reckon Taylor Hunt was there for a little while.
Yeah.
So it was. As I said, every time you walked out against Geelong,
you knew you were getting a tough matchup.
It was always going to be, and they always just went down to the wire. Like it was might as well just fast forward to the last quarter and see.
There was always that funny thing though you were talking about before around the the Kennett curse and always, but it was interesting in the sense that there were the 2 wins out of X games and they were both finals.
Yeah.
So it was almost like you only won when it mattered. So it's like, where do you?
I know, yeah. Well, even going into this year's final against them, I can't remember the exact stat, but it was like, the last time Geelong had beaten Hawthorn in a cutthroat final was the 70s or something silly like that. So, even though they'd won all those games in a row during the regular seasons, we'd won the games that mattered. So it was nice to get that over them.
So you break into the team, playing some really good footy. Talk us through, like the other small forward brigade with Cyril and Piopolo coming in as a mature ager.
Yeah.
But also the number change. How did that happen?
Yeah, so...
And who was 22? But was it Richie Vandenberg?
It was Travis Tuck.
Travis Tuck?
Tuck. Yeah. So Tucky was before me in the 22. So he'd finished up. I was in the 47 for those first 17 games.
Didn't want to keep it?
It was a little bit heavy. And I wasn't even in the locker room. It was just like we had all these lockers. So there was sort of lockers right around the outside and then they had this strip through the middle, which was like the heavier numbers, but then it finished at like 45.
So, what locker were you using?
So it was 46, 47, 48 were down near like the property stewards.
You weren't in the locker room?
I wasn't in the locker room. So you'd walk through these 2 little doors. I can't remember. I think it was Michael Johnson was 46. I was 47 and Carl Peterson was 48. And so we were...
Three amigos. Just down in the property steward room.
Down the side. So once... That's pretty funny. So then once that... 2011 year, once I debuted, I was like, okay.
See you, Carl. See you, Jim.
It'd be nice to actually see some boys in the locker room. So went in there. I have so much respect for Cyril and Poppy. So Cyril had obviously been around for a little while, and then Poppy was mature age in 2010, and he debuted. I think he debuted a few weeks before me, and then we just formed a great little partnership over the journey. My biggest critique of my game like a lot of it before I got my debut was my defensive pressure. Mm-hmm. So even at Box Hill, I was kicking a lot of goals, started the year really well in my second year, and the feedback was always just your defensive pressure's not there. You need to help us in Team D and make sure that side of your game's spot on, because we know you can be dangerous and kick goals, but we need you to get this right. So I had 2 guys in Cyril and Poppy who were elite in that area. So you just get to work, you watch their vision, you ask them questions and try and work in with them the best way you can. And fortunately I was sort of able to do that and get that side of my game in good order, and then that gave me some looks in front of goal as well. So it was a good little mix. We used to have a little star rotation. So the star rotation to go through centre bounce was us 3 and then Ruffy. So between the 4 of us, we'd have 6 or 8 centre bounces a game each, and it just freed us up in terms of that small forward position where it can just be a graveyard some days. To be able to get up the ground, get into a centre bounce, feel amongst it again was pretty important, I think, for all 4 of us really. So there was times where Ruff, same thing, like out of the game, was like, okay, get him up into a centre bounce. He's really good around the footy, so get him involved. And then it's amazing once you even if you just get a tackle or a bump, or you just get involved and then you go back forward, and then all of a sudden the ball starts to fall your way. So we had a great little relationship between us 3, and I don't know, there was a few different names that got banded around in terms of the 3 amigos or the Rat Pack or whatever, but I don't know whether one of them actually stuck. But very
amazing like trio of small forwards. It was just a pleasure to watch. when you're saying around like the locker room as well, I've just realised obviously like you come in, you're going from sitting with Carl and Johnson.
Michael Johnson.
Jono. Who are great guys. but then you sort of having a bit of an upgrade, like sit next to Buddy.
I know.
And who was 21? Was it Ben McGlynn? Or was he gone
Ben McGlynn initially. And then
this is annoying me because I should know who this is.
I reckon it was like after McGlynn would have been someone like a Ben Ross.
Benny Ross.
Yeah,
now I'm a good accountant, Benny Ross. Isn't he? He's doing the AFL players sort of fun, yeah.
And then
Mark Porter.
Cooper Stevens of more recent times.
Yeah.
Noel Moraz obviously this year. So, but yeah, Bud, you obviously start sitting next to Bud. And
what was that like? Buddy's a bit of like I don't know if that's the right word, but like an enigma. Like I don't met him, once, but like you don't know really what he's like.
Yeah, he was a joker. Like when I first met him, he like loved to gag, loved all the we played cricket and stuff out in the warm up area. He used to love getting involved in all that.
Yep.
The boys used to just try and bowl outswingers to him. It was just like there's this thing where everyone would just try and get an edge off Bud, and we'd have this big slips cord, and everyone would just try and bowl outswingers at him. And then if we got him with an edge, like everyone would just erupt. But yeah, he'd very much kept to himself in terms of like rough. Louis Gibbo was sort of probably his guys that he'd hang around with. But then you now see him at reunions, and it was great obviously to see him this year. But he certainly changed, matured. You like start talking to him about how important culture is and these sort of things. So I feel like as he went through his career, he just continued to develop and obviously was still the amazing player that he was. But yeah, definitely sort of changed from my point of view in terms of his personality and the way he sort of came across.
Out of you speak about culture and some of the Indigenous players at Hawthorn that you had were honestly some of the greats, like Buddy Franklin, Cyril Rioli, Sean Burgoyne. There's probably Chance Bateman, probably a lot of others that I'm missing. But talk us through like some of the coolest thing you've seen on field. Like there's obviously so many, but does any like little moments stick out to you that might not have been as much public knowledge, but just little things that you've seen going like, oh my God?
I'll probably go off field to start with. I remember we used to do this rumble in the jungle. It was like a boxing session. And I remember Cyril and Chance had to fight each other in like 3-minute rounds. And I had vision on my phone from that time, and I've lost it somehow. But I just remember being like scared watching them box. And then on field, there was the... I just remember...
There's nothing worse than getting in the boxing ring with anyone. Like...
Well, we do it every preseason, and it was just the most you would look forward to it with such dread,
but just want to get it done.
Yeah, just want to get it done.
And then Mitch Lewis, a mutual friend of ours, probably ruined that for everyone.
Yeah,
it's done for good now. He knocked himself out, and now you don't do anything.
But there's on field, probably the two, especially with Bud. So 13 in Tassie.
Yeah,
it's sort of funny when you're playing. When you're playing, you sort of like you know who's played well, but you don't know how well. And then you get to the end of the game, it's like he's kicked 13. Like it takes me 2 weeks to have 13 kicks, let alone 13 goals.
Was there a bit of aura about Bud after that? Like, does he I love when someone does something. A bit of aura, but when someone does something good, but then they're also like, did he tell you he kicked 13, or does he sort of just let you?
I don't think he wasn't much. He wasn't like that too much, but I think he only had like one or two halfway through the second quarter.
Yeah.
And then he's just gone bang. And then the other one for me with Cyril I was fortunate enough to actually kick in the ball, but I probably kicked it 5 meters away from where I actually wanted to put it. And then he just sits on 2 heads against Fremantle in that sort of forward pocket of the MCG, lands like a cat, decides to play on, steps a guy, snaps it on his left. Like, they just did things that there's not too many can do on a footy field.
Still probably one of my favourite ever highlights to watch is the Cyril Essendon
1-2, yeah. That was with Cheng, I reckon, with Chance Bateman.
There you go. That must have been in like he looked very young. First year. Does the spins through it. I was just like, it was amazing to watch. It was really cool to even just as a football fan this year, playing the EJ Whitten Legends game.
Yeah.
And like, I get very lucky with the work I do now. I get to like talk to a lot of great players like yourself, but like seeing him there, I was just like, oh my God, it's like Cyril Rioli. He's still got that.
He does.
Yeah.
Some people have it, and he's just got it. Doesn't
Yeah.
he? How's his talk from 70 inside the square?
He's a star. Have you got a favourite flag?
Yeah, 13 would definitely be my favourite. I think so. I got dropped for the second final in 2011. So I pretty much played all year, and then Swans were quite tall, so I sort of fell out of the side in 2011, which was good in hindsight. Like, you look back on your career, it was probably the second time that I'd been dropped, or first time I'd been dropped. And it sort of just spurred me on in terms of the 2012 pre-season. Go through 12, lose a grand final. So then to get back there that following season and finally win one was just amazing. You go. It's such a long period of time to get back there. You know what I mean? You sort of just want to get back there the next week. But it's like, okay, now we've got to have a rest, and then you got to build back up, and then you got to get through the regular season. It's just like, oh my God, it's a long year. So then to get back there and get another chance at it and win was just.
It's what has amazed me with seeing Brisbane go back to back this year. There's this great thing around. You talk about motivation a lot, and it's like motivation fades. It's quite quickly. It's an emotion. Like you can get emotional and you can be motivated, but then all of a sudden it goes, and it just comes back to really like discipline. Like the best people are disciplined, the best teams are disciplined. So to be able to actually consistently do that for a long time, is that what you felt like? It was just a disciplined,
it's nearly like just doing it was nearly like boring, if that makes sense. That you have to just continue to show up. You've got to get the work done, and you got to do the basics over and over and over again. And it's like winning is nearly boring, which sounds stupid, really, because it's like winning should be everything. Like, it should be so exciting, and you should be so pumped. But to get that result, it's just like you've got to put all these other things in place and execute. So, it's a. I don't really know where I'm going with this, but it's like, it is hard to continually stay motivated for, 24 weeks or 25 weeks or whatever. Like.
Yeah, but you're going to have, and this is even where, you think about it a lot now. I think about it outside of football, but just in life in general. Like, you're going to have ebbs and flows throughout the year, but it's almost about just not panicking and understanding that you can't be on all the time.
Yeah. And it's sometimes, like, you look at, I think Brisbane had a bit of a hiccup sort of in the back end of the year, like Collingwood, same sort of thing, and then you watch them in finals, it's like they could have won it. So you just can't be up that whole time, otherwise it's near impossible. Or if you are up that whole time, you'll just probably fall.
There's going to be a bit. There was a really cool stat that one of the boys in the office, Pato, was actually looking at. He's doing his research, and this was heading into the finals this year, and it was around like the last 10 premiership like teams or 10 years of the AFL.
Yeah,
the team that ended up winning the grand final ultimately was the team that won the most games during like June, July, which was like the coldest, shittest time of the month. So this 8-week period where, the games are sort of, everyone's like, oh, let's just get to finals, let's do this, let's do that. But they were the team that stayed consistent throughout that lull.
And kept being able
and
to
kept going. Was that ever something that was like publicly acknowledged through the team? Because I know you worked a lot. We've actually had we've had Clark on the show, we've had Sam Mitchell, and also Anthony Clarica. Big Claz, who I know is a bit of a character, but I really love his work. Did you work with him a bit?
I did, Hawks? So the first couple of years, he actually was probably, and I still used it to a few weeks ago when I played my last game. He split the quarters into 15-minute blocks. So when I first started, it was either I would start on the bench, and then so your first rotation would be 6 or 7 minutes, and then you'd rotate again in the back end of the quarter. And I went through this phase in my early period where just mentally I couldn't. If you start off, so you miss the first little bit of the game, and then you go on, and then all of a sudden it could be my rotation again, and I've done nothing.
Oh man, that's basically. Now this is the first time I've resonated with anything you've said today.
So that, and
then the decision is: do I stay out here one more minute, or do I just fucking get off and reset
and just get to quarter time, and I'll talk to my line coach and be like, mate, what's going on?
Pressure's good.
So he actually introduced this 15-minute block sort of thing, because then once I established myself, my rotation was probably first. So it's like you start on the ground, but then your first rotation would be 6 or 8 minutes. And again, if you've started the game, did nothing, you come off, you not go back on until the sort of 12 to 13 minute mark. And that's where the 15 minute probably was introduced, because it was like, okay, you've had your rotation, you're now then going to play the rest of the quarter. It doesn't matter what's happening in that first 15 minutes, just wipe it. It's like you might have kicked 2 goals. It's like, it doesn't matter, wipe it. You might have had 0 possessions, 0 impact, 0 everything. But that's just like, oh, that's okay. We'll wipe that, and then we'll just attack the next 15 minutes of this quarter and see how that plays out. So, yeah, Anthony, I've probably got him to thank for that little one that, as I said, he introduced that pretty much in my first couple of years, and I continued that through the whole lot. Where were we talking?
I was just thinking, I wish he sort of gave me that one. That would have been handy, actually.
Well, and I've passed that on to a number of guys, because even guys these days, I know Connor McDonald always starts on the bench, and had struggled with that, or we'd definitely spoken about it. So it's a good little one to be able to just move on and try and clear your head a little bit.
So, three-peat, playing through those times, you're 18, was your favourite.
Yeah.
14, 15?
Yeah, 14, 15 was... So 14 was a pretty special year for me. So I made All-Australian for the first time, had 29 straight that I'm probably... there's
29 goals straight.
Yeah, 29 goals straight. There's probably 2 stats in my career that I'm proud of, and it'd be that one, and then I didn't realise that I was
the goal assist.
The goal assist, yeah.
240
something, I think it is.
It's a great stat.
But like 50 odd ahead of Mitch, who's second at Hawthorn. Like, I just didn't think
Mitch was a bit hungrier than what you are.
Well, but then I compared it to Eddie Betts. Like, Eddie had like 300 and something. Like, it's just amazing. But they're probably the 2, and then
Sorry, I did cut you off before. I just want to make that clear. So 247 goal assists, meaning you've been very selfless and passing the ball to, and Jack made a very nice thing at the BNF.
Yeah, he did,
about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I must have been sitting near the kitchen. Someone was cutting onions, I think.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I'm a big cry too. That's fine. It's beautiful.
No. So, but the 29 straight was pretty amazing. I think if the media had got onto it a little bit earlier, I might have been in a little bit of trouble. I passed 2 off against North Melbourne, which I probably would have normally had a shot, because I knew in the back of my mind.
Really?
I was on 22, I reckon, at the time. So,
and you're like, oh, this one's a bit of 50-50.
It would have been a left foot snap from sort of 25 out, right on the boundary. So I'm like, I'm probably a 50-50.
I'm only 70-30
here. There was 4 out in the full, though, would you believe, in all that.
Okay.
But they apparently don't count. So it's
Play
just
on.
like, so either kick them or spray them real wide, so you don't kick a point.
One thing I'd love to talk about is like with the development side of thing. You're kind of working with Richmond now, and obviously you've it's been really evident. Like coming from New South Wales, rookie, worked your absolute backside off to get to where you have. Yeah. The development stuff is so important to be able to, and young boys and girls might be listening today about how much work you put into craft.
Yeah.
And probably my question is more so on, I think a lot of people, and speaking for myself as a young bloke, was always trying to work on my deficiencies of like what I wasn't good at versus what I was. And, you look at your game around, probably the 2 that stand out to me is 1, finishing, and 2, that front and centre, timing the ball, 10 to 2, getting in the right position. Did you know early, I'm going to double down on what I'm good at? Or was there ever any other times, or when you're coaching other people, that you do see players get mixed up with the negative, positive?
Oh, you definitely see it all the time in terms of focusing too much on what they can't do in terms of you've got this weapon, and you've got this weapon because you were drafted for a reason. So can you just please concentrate on that? I know you've got these, a lot of people, it's pretty well publicised at Hawthorn that like Mitchell wants you to go to your left or go to your opposite foot. You have to have the ability to roll to the opposite side, and if it only means you hit a 15-metre pass, that's all you need to do. You don't need to roll and boot at 50, but you've still got to be able to roll onto that preferred side if it's corridor or whatever it is. I'm not too sure. I think I definitely put an emphasis on whenever there was contested marking going on. So how it's quite hard to get pure contested marks because there's all this stuff around contest and guys getting hurt and all this sort of thing. But there'd be 1 or 2 drills a week where it was the keys were genuinely going at it and they're properly flying at the footy and trying to actually take these contested marks. So I just made a little pact with myself that it was every single time those keys were doing that marking, I would then be crumbing off it because that was the most pure crumb that you could get. You could do walkthroughs and you could do craft and things like that, which is great for learning and patterning and things like that. But in terms of a pure crumb, that was the best way for me to get exposure to it during training. Do you remember the 4-cone drill where like they'd call out 2 colours and then they'd come back in and try and mark it? So that every time I saw them setting that drill up, it didn't matter what else was happening at training. I would then just go straight to that drill and then just crumb off that. So that's probably the first thing with crumbing. And again, I'll take that into my coaching in terms of Richmond. It's just like whenever there's a pure contest happening, you smalls have to just go over there. If you're missing a kicking drill because of it, we'll go and do a bit extra kicking at the end of training, but this is what you
practice your actual craft.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
The question around the crumbing stuff, not that this is probably me asking this as a 18-year-old now, and it's not really valuable in my life anymore. But I'll ask it for someone else.
Yeah.
Were you with your patterns of a front and centre? Because I don't say this. I seriously think your timing. I used to watch it when I was at Carlton. You used to have the game. We used to be able to go watch back games and we'd sit around and like go, let's watch Luke Breust and Eddie Betts and all these guys.
Yeah.
Did you practice, not from a 20 metre, like you'd see the contest 20 metres in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Flat footed, just run at it.
Yeah.
Like how would you start from the back? Would you practice different patterns? Because I always felt like you were coming 45 across the front.
That was, I think I worked it out pretty quickly and I don't know why, or it just seemed to sort of work for me, but I call it sort of east-west versus north-south. Like instead of hitting the contest square on, where the likelihood of it coming to you directly into that spot is like slim to none. Like you're still in the 10-2, but unless it falls directly there, then you're sort of just like sitting there. So you might flush one in 10, but that's it. Versus going across it, you seem to be able to get to multiple different areas of the drop. And the other thing that for me was then having an exit. So like if you get it square on, you're
running through the pack.
Yeah, you're running through the pack. You're hitting everyone who's in the contest, or you've then got to turn sideways to then try and get a shot off. Versus if you're going east-west, you've then got a chance to either continue that direction or potentially then wheel around and sort of go back away from goal. So,
and I suppose like would you be going, say for example, balls getting kicked in from like the fat side, are you wanting to run diagonal so that you can see the ball fly as well, not run with it behind you?
100%. And that's one of the harder things to teach some of these younger guys is being able to get...
a lot of time you just go...
Correct, being able to get off the line of it. Yeah. So you pretty much have been able to get off the line of it, watch it coming in so you can react instead of just purely reacting from the contest.
That's like just reaction then. It's not like you're not actually... Because I think a lot of people would look, go, fuck, he's so good at reacting. It's like, well... You are, but you're actually finding the ball flight. You're tracking it the whole way.
Whereas, time, I actually relate it to more like scanning in like soccer. Yeah. So you watch like Messi and all these really good guys. Their head is just like on a swivel the whole time because they're constantly scanning and picking up information. So it's exactly the same as that with crumbing. It's just like you're scanning and being able to take in as much information as you can, so that then you make a really good decision. Yeah. Versus if you just turn around and just look at the contest. It's just like, well, good luck then reacting off that. So
it's a great point.
Yeah. But then the finishing side in terms of goals, it was, I don't know, it goes back to maybe a little bit of that boring stuff that I said before. You've got to be able to put yourself into a mindset of this. I just have to do this, and I don't care how boring it is. I don't care whether this is mundane and repetitious, but it's the only way to get better.
Because goal kicking is so fun. Like
exactly,
at an end of a session, especially like pre-season, it is the most boring thing ever, and you can easily take it as like zone out and not focus on certain things.
Yeah, and that's where you've then somehow got to be able to trick your mind to be able to get that done, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to then have 5 or 6 shots from the boundary or muck around. A bit of fun, to add on top of it.
What would be your, you're moving into your coaching phase now. What are your like 2 to 3 things you're going to take from the coaches you've learned into the next phase? Because it's quite funny. Like I was chatting to Mick Barlow yesterday. We were having a kick in the office. We did Footy and Friends, and I was like, we're kicking the ball, and I did like a face up, which again, maybe the language people won't understand, but it's like you mark the ball and then you're facing the game ready to play. And from all reports, that's like a Clarko sort of
it's
thing.
actually a Mitchell, we used to call
Sam Mitchell. It is too.
Mitchell play,
There you go. So it's a Sam Mitchell thing, but it was coached through the Clarko era.
Yeah.
Bolts brought it to Carlton. Didn't really work. But then now Clarko's at North. They're doing it. So it's sort of it's revolutionised the game, and people might not sort of know that. Yeah, basically, ball's getting kicked to you forward. You're marking it, but then ready to turn.
Another one who's elite at it is Jack Gunston. So if you watch Jack on the lead up, or if he gets the ball like around the arc, he'll nearly land
ready to kick,
like with his feet already, or at least his body's sort of half turned, so that he can already see. It just buys you seconds. So, why is Jack Gunston a really good kick? Well, he's a really good kick because he's made the decision already. So now he's got a second and a half to execute the skill instead of half a second, because he's already made that decision and he's already looked and been able to see who his option is.
Especially quick ball player. Like you see like so many times like some forwards or mid forwards will like take a mark and then run and have their back turned to the plate. You're like, fuck, man, if you turned around, like there's a 1v1 out, like now.
100%.
Which I can't really talk because I probably did that myself. But that's an example. Is there anything else that you've sort of reflected on being like, these are my things that I reckon are really valuable?
So obviously the crumbing side of it, I'm looking forward to really sort of diving into that and teaching these young guys about that.
Morris Rioli Jr. You've got
Mansell.
Obviously
Layla will be mid. Hopefully
Mid-forward,
hopefully floats down through there. And there's a few keys as well, which I'm looking for, like Samson Ryan and a couple other guys. Obviously Lynchy's there as well, so even picking his brain in terms of what he likes or what he likes to do. Really looking forward to that. I think there's something in your hands and your craft. So Brett Ratton, I don't know whether you've come across Ratton.
Yeah, I had him in my first year. Yeah.
So I think he's probably taught me the most in terms of craft with ball control and hands. So like not grabbing down on the footy. So pretty much from nearly like a wicketkeeper. So pretty much from your waist down, your hands have to be like a wicketkeeper. And anything up, you obviously can then tilt them up. But it's all about, if I'm coming through with a crumb or if it's a ground ball and your hands are facing down, you've got two goes at it. So you might fumble it, but at least you might be then scooping it forward. Whereas if your hands are facing down, it's just like it's gone and behind you.
I've never heard that one before.
Really? Yeah. That's the little things like that.
But also, like if you take it under, you're in a better position to handball versus if you're on top, you've then got to move your hands around.
Yeah. So it's little things like that. He was a ripper in terms of, we used to play. Did you ever play slips with him? He loves slips. So slips is like a 2v2
Never
game.
got invited into his game, but I played it near him.
Well, he thought he was the king at that game. So we played that against him all the time, and I actually nearly missed a game because he nearly did my AC joint and then knocked me out. That's how competitive he gets with these games of slips. But he just is really good at just craft. So I reckon I'll take a lot of his ball touch and craft across to the Tigers as well. And then just general patterning, I think, is probably the other one. So being able to try and slip through the cracks a little bit. What are you doing with your defender? How are you setting him up? If he wants to play front shoulder, if he wants to play back shoulder, what are you thinking about? Obviously, like a lot of the time for a small, it's like, okay, how am I setting him up to then get to a crumb? But when it's my chance to either lead up or get him out the back, it's like, how do I do that as well? So they're probably the three main things I think I'll be taking to the Tigers. Yeah.
Well, go Tigers. I'm excited for that. Have you found working with Adrian Hickmott? So I've heard a lot about Adrian. I want to get him on the pod. Spoke to Simo. He reckons he's like the coolest dude ever.
Yeah.
How would you describe working with him? Because he's midfield, but also a bit of a mind.
Well, he was forward the last couple of years. Yeah. So worked very close with him in the last few years. So he's definitely the most unique line coach that I've had in my time. His ability to build a relationship with his player is the best I've seen though.
There was a story around a player got injured in hospital and he did something. He went and
Kelsh had his stress fractures this year and the guitar stuff.
Something like that. Yeah.
So then he started playing guitar to try and get his mind off it because he obviously couldn't do too much. But yeah, he's an interesting fella. He goes about it in a very interesting way compared to other assistants. But he got our forward group going really well the last 2 seasons, and he'd be a good one for you because I think you'd walk away from it going, geez, I look at things a little bit, or I think I'll think about things a little bit differently after speaking to him.
Yeah, from what I've heard, he's really good at what he's doing, which is cool to have. Love like surrounding yourself with. It sounds great what Sam Mitchell's doing about like you got to surround yourself with different people, different the way they think and go.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
No, that's awesome. So phases for coaching, I suppose. When did how'd you go with like Uze and how did all that process sort of work?
Yeah, so Clarko was the first one to reach out, probably 6 or 7 rounds to go, and he's sort of like, I don't want to preempt the end.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't take an offense to that. I don't take any offense to that, mate. And had a conversation with him, and I've done a commerce degree as well, and I think end game, and like it's not obviously set in stone or anything. I might get into the coaching and just be like, get me to an assistant as quickly as possible or whatever. But I think end game for me will be more trying to get across into that general manager space and end up down that path, which Clarko sort of didn't really know about. He was obviously more around the development and just the coaching side of it. And then, a few more phone calls start to roll through as you announce your retirement, and then you sort of try and work through that process, which was difficult. You've obviously got existing relationships across a number of clubs, and so then trying to work out all that was quite hard. The conversation to obviously then call Clarko back and say that I'm not going to North was difficult as well.
He would have taken that well.
It's hard. I won't go into that.
No,
one,
of
but
course.
He was great. He was great in the end. You have
got so many connections through football.
Correct. Yeah. And then so trying to work all that out, and then you've got like the difference in terms of offers. What does it look like? Is there nights with VFL? I've got a young family.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, it's nearly a non-negotiable for me to do nights. So like that's difficult. I'd prefer to do something else, earn less money so that I can then be with my kids and spend quality time with them. So you sort of try and weigh all that up, even location and things like that. Where am I driving to? So Richmond ticked a lot of boxes. I didn't know Taylor Dre was coming at the time either. So that was just another little cherry on top to have him there as well. I knew Jack Siebel through John Segler. So I'd been in the Segs' bridal party with him. So it ticked a lot of boxes, Richmond, and I can't wait to get started there.
It's bloody exciting.
Yeah.
When do you start?
10th of November.
Oh, cool.
So not.
Jeez,
not
I get a good break
yeah.
these days.
Yeah.
They're having fun. The stuff around really interesting around the business side of the administration. So I love asking this question, and people probably get sick of it, but I love looking at successful clubs and successful teams, and you look at what Hawthorn's been able to do. Izzy Smith on this podcast said the same thing.
Yeah.
Around his decision to go to Geelong, go to a strong club with a strong board and
100%,
and some real, clarity on where the place wants to go.
Good stability.
Good stability. Like, is that something where you identified at Hawks and what you want to take into the next bit?
Yeah, there's definitely that. So the stability, and you probably look at like Brisbane's another good example this year. They're just so stable from top down, and we were exactly the same during the three-peat era where you've got quality people who just get their job done, and that just breeds success because you've just got so much trust in the organisation that no one's got an agenda or pulling in a different direction. And then I think just the way the footy department is run itself is really significant as well. So I've been fortunate to be in a really good footy department with Clarko, then a really good footy department with Sam, and now hopefully get a good footy department under Uze, so I can continue to sort of form my view of what makes up a good footy department. So eventually, if I do get to that role, then you're not making mistakes. You're not implementing things that's like, is this going to work or is it not? It's just like that this has worked in the past, so it should continue to work into the future.
What do you think is a really underrated, not so much underrated, but what do you think is a role that I suppose the public don't understand is as important as it is? Like, obviously there's a coach, right? But like, is it the GM of footy? Is it, the CEO? Is it that director of coaching? Like, who do you think has the most impact that people might not think has quite a bit of an impact?
Yeah, it's a great question.
I suppose it's different at every club.
It
right?
is, yeah. Oh, the two for me would be Andrew Russell and Peter Burge. So they're head of fitness. Head of fitness. So they both went about it in a very different way. Jack was probably more like stand up. Yeah. Well, yeah. Did you have it?
Yeah, had him on the pod a couple of times.
Yeah.
I love.
Like he was like a jack of all trades. Like he could do.
Pardon the pun. Yeah.
Yeah. Pardon the pun.
He's grouse.
Because he'd be able to spray you on a Monday if you needed a spray. He could pump you up if you needed that. He'd do hands-on treatment. He just could. Yeah. He just did everything. Whereas Burgess probably went about it a little bit differently, but both ran a program that was highly successful. Got the best out of his players and got them prepared in a way that just set them up for success.
It's a great point. I didn't even have that in the most important, but like if you can't get your players fit and humming and primed at the right time, like then the reality is it won't work.
Yeah, for sure.
Jack, far out. We had this training session that he took for us down at we're doing these AFL clubby stuff last year, training sessions, and there was a bunch of like 50 blokes that have played footy at all local level, and we're doing this running session at the end.
Yeah.
And he brings us in and does this like dead set, never given Sunday, like any given Sunday speech. We're all got goosebumps. These guys have never experienced anything like this before. And you've got a guy that's been at the ultimate of AFL success, like talking to you guys.
Yeah.
He's talking to us, and we're doing these 400s. And mate, I was about to run through a fucking brick wall.
That's what it feels like, doesn't it?
He was like, when you're fucked, you just keep going.
Yeah.
And he goes, all you got to do is think about your next step. He goes, don't, what was his big thing? He's like, think about one part of your body, keep your back straight, keep your knees high. And I'm just like, I was like, well, let's go.
Yes, sir.
I was like, where do you want to go? I will go with you.
It's so true.
So he was doing some great stuff, but it's a very important role.
Oh, 100%. And as I said, they went about it very differently. Like Peter was not like that at all, but still had this, I guess, like steeliness to him that
like a methodical confidence
when he
or something.
spoke or when he said we were doing a certain set or whatever and how important it was just like, all right, I'm locking in here and I'll just get it done.
Do you remember your hardest preseason?
You had to say. I was literally.
I
I've got this screenshot on my phone. I should be able to find it for you. From a preseason camp in New Zealand, and it was like a mixture of a hike / sort of. I think there was a time component of it, which was like more of a race, and then it was like, okay, we'll cruise across the top because it's a bit sketchy, and then it'll be a few more activities across the bottom. And then down into camp, and it'd be interesting to get your reaction. So that was the day.
God, 36 kilometres, 48,000 steps, 744 floors.
So do you know the worst thing about those floors is you've then got to go back
down them.
Yeah.
So that's actually they're cancelling themselves out nearly.
It's just like by the end of the day, you're like, just let me go uphill, please, because going down is
worse.
Is worse. Yeah. Yeah.
Was that with Jack?
That was with Jack, yeah.
We oh, mate, these stories are the funny. Isn't it funny? You don't talk about the good, like you talk about all the like.
Yeah. Well, we did Kokoda as well.
Well,
so Kokoda was a part of.
Did you go with Taya Miles? That's my cousin.
No.
Yeah.
I reckon he would have been a couple of years after. Yeah. But that was.
I thought you were going to say you don't remember him. That would have been even better.
No, I remember Taya. The Kokoda trip was another one where I guess you just put yourself in such a hole that then no matter what happens post that, it's just like, okay, I'm going to be fine. Like if Jack tells you to do 21 150s and you get into that point where you're like, okay, I'm starting to struggle. It's just like, well, just think about New Zealand or think about Kokoda and you'll be right, mate. Like you'll get through the last couple of 150s.
There's a point where, I don't know, like that I've gotten to with these things that you're so cooked that you actually can't get any more tired because you're so fucked. Like the next thing is just passing out. So you're almost like, okay, like just accept it.
That's it.
We did went to the Grand Canyon when we were over there and did that, and I was like, this is awesome. We're going to the Grand Canyon. Like go and check this out. And we walked all the way down it, and then walked all the way back up. And it was like the feeling. You say walking, it's like so easy.
Yeah.
But like when you're down the bottom and then you look up and you're like, oh, we've got to go back up. And you walk for like 4 hours and you feel like you haven't even moved.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's fascinating, as you said. It's why do we remember those sessions so much? Like we don't remember goal kicking or.
I don't remember the grand finals. Do you know what's interesting though? And it's great that you're staying in footy because you'll still get to experience these things. And I don't have to tell you this because you probably already know it, but you think when you finish, you go, oh my God, I don't have to do that stuff anymore. How fucking good.
Yeah.
Give it 6 months and you'll be like, I want to do it. You want it. You want it. I've been on camps with my so David Butterfant, who we go with, I've been on camps with him, paid him to take me. I want to do another one because you crave it. You crave it. You think you don't want it, but you actually do.
Yeah, 100%. Even things like hypoxic. Do you ever do any hypoxic stuff?
The swimming under.
Like that. We did that for ages. And everyone would just hate it. We were doing a captain's run days. So we finish captain's run, do our team meeting, and then we'd be like, all right, boys, down the pool. And you'd be down there doing underwaters like the day before the game.
I'd love to know how much of that actually worked.
Oh, no.
Hey, mate, you've been incredibly generous with your time. I don't want to I want to do like part 2, 3, 4. Okay, so middle of next year, I want to do some more stuff. But before we finish, give us your top 3 golf courses.
Oh, this is such a hard.
Or 5.
Such a hard
question. You can go as top as you want. And what are you playing handicap wise at the moment?
I'm on the drift, and obviously this knee is going to be even worse. So I'm at to about 5 point something, I think.
That's it's so that's amazing.
You've played with Mitch, and you've played with these sort of guys, so you know the competition is so.
It is fierce,
intense.
You know who's very is quite gettable on the golf course. Yeah. Sicily. He's very mentally fragile when it comes to competition.
That's just him, isn't it? We had a great day down at Moona though. I think him and I were both mentally challenged that day.
I flick it for the cameras.
So, okay, let's go.
It can be international because I know you've done some really cool golf trips.
I think I'd stay just purely Australia for the 3.
Okay.
So one would be Barnbougle.
Mm-hmm. Which one?
Barnbougle Dunes. The original.
I actually like Lost Farm better.
Probably because you score better there.
Yeah, I think so.
So Dunes would be 1, Kingston Heath 2, Metropolitan 3.
Really?
Yeah, they were for some reason those 2 were always my
Kingston Heath is I think just the nostalgia of the Tiger Woods story about him. That was where he got caught cheating on his wife.
That 09 was
back. So anyway, you don't want to associate that with the course, but that is
so that'd be 3, and then overseas. So
you would have played everything in Melbourne, right? Like you would have done Vic.
I haven't done Vic redevelopment.
Okay, but you've done PK.
So, PK,
National, Royal.
Yep. Yeah. So ticked all them off, but for some reason Kingston's
it feels very prestigious.
Yeah,
to
definitely.
Play there.
Yeah. And then overseas, so very fortunate to play Sage Valley, which is in South Carolina, which is just an amazing course.
Do you remember when we were playing and I think Sis or Mitch had the Sage Valley and I thought it was Spring Valley?
Spring Valley. Just around the corner. Pebble Beach would be 2. So Cicely, Gunston and myself did Pebble a couple of years ago. So that was a bit of a bucket list type trip. So we had Pebble, Spyglass and Spanish Bay all within 3 days. And then Riviera in LA as well. Again, these sort of courses are like, it's just the experience as well, not just the course. Like, there's just the whole thing that goes into it. So, and I haven't even mentioned Cathedral Lodge. So
I would say Cathedral Lodge is...
Yeah, in terms of Australia.
It's the coolest place I reckon I've ever been.
Again, it's an experience, isn't it? It's like the course is amazing itself, but then it's the
drive in and
the drive in and when you walk through that clubhouse and see the 18th and things like that and sit out on the porch, it is a flex, isn't it?
It's amazing. We'll get up there. Gunner should definitely take us up there and chuck it on his car. I reckon it'd be fair enough.
He just won the BNS, so he can...
I think he's got a bit. Do you know what I was thinking today? Not to get into specifics and what his latest contract would have been, but how amazing. Speaking of your friend, Hawthorn goes to Brisbane, comes back after a year, gets delisted, rookie contract, misses the first game, emergency.
Two games, I reckon.
2 games.
Yep.
Wins the BNF and All-Australian on a rookie contract.
Yeah. It's
Would
nuts.
he?
It's nuts. Especially when everyone was pretty much had written him off. Like once he got to Brisbane, it was like, okay, we can't get a kick. We call it his gap.
Was he playing in the NEAFL up there or something?
I reckon he might have played a couple of games, but he played 11 or 12 games for the year, I think, for the Lions, and then gets back to us. And even his first year back with us, I think he kicked 29 goals or something like that. Again, potentially could have retired or delisted, which he was.
He was.
So
I'd love to know one day what that contract was, because I think I looked it up. I was chatting to him on Footy and Friends today. There's never been. We looked this up. There's never been an All-Australian rookie.
Really?
Like on a contract. Like as in you're All-Australian, but you weren't on the rookie list when you got it.
At the time.
So he's the only player to be on a rookie list.
Wow. And make All-Australian.
Yeah.
He would, in terms of value, you talk about good value.
That's what I mean. Like
his value.
He probably played $1 million over his salary.
Yep. Could be more.
And he will be going with his hand out, I'm sure.
I hope he went back to the...
I hope he didn't sign a 2-year rookie contract.
I hope he went back to the club this year and said, boys, you want to start... This is going to be... This is not a little increase. This is like times 2 sort of set up.
Instead of 70s, I'm 140 now. I'm sure he's doing very well.
Yeah.
He's got those subs to pay at Cathedral anyway. Yeah. Hey, mate, congratulations on everything. Seriously.
Thank you.
Been an honour to genuinely just watch you play as a fan, become a friend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries.
Just confirming.
Yep.
And pumped as for your next phase at the Tigers, and all those young guys and girls that have access to you and your wealth of knowledge are incredibly lucky, because, mate, you've done it in a way that not many have, from where you've come from to the everything. It's bloody awesome. So you should be proud of yourself. And congrats on fatherhood.
Yeah. How's your little one?
He's good. I've actually got 2 now. So I've got Max, who's 2.5.
Yeah.
He's next Tiger Woods. And then I've got Annie, who's nearly 6 months.
Yeah, wow.
You got the 1 or 2?
One.
One,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Freya just turned 17 months.
Yeah.
Good age.
Yeah.
But I feel like it'd be nice when she can start to talk, because she knows what she wants now, but can't tell us what she
Well, mate,
what she
you ever
wants.
need any tips, you know to come to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? Yeah.
Love it. Thank you,
Good stuff,
mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks again.